Recently, we did a live stream talking about clothing folds and how to study them. We discussed a lot of important topics like tension and compression, and how to decide which folds to draw and which ones to leave out of your drawing. We talked about how it's important to emphasize the underlying structure of the body with wraps. I think this topic is incredibly useful. Here's an edited version of that live stream demo. I hope that you find it really helpful.
So we've got some random image I found on Pinterest. And I drew out this quick sketch of a body, right? This is just to get some general volumes in place. And this body right here, I just want to go, this is coming towards me. This is a cylinder, right? If I were to like break this into like a very simple concept, it's like, this is coming towards me. Here's the top of it. This is kind of going out here. Here's the bottom of it. This leg is going down. Here's the bottom of it. This leg is going out. There's the bottom, and the wrapping is kind of like that. There's an arm, and then it comes towards us a little bit and kind of comes out like that, right? So I'm thinking in terms of these three-dimensional volumes. And the reason that this is so important to do when you're drawing clothes, all of these clothes are overlapping and going on top of these three-dimensional forms. The body defines the form of the clothes. If this body underneath of the clothing were to suddenly vanish, the clothes would fall onto the ground into a pile. The body is the main driver of what you see happening with the clothes. We're going to take a look at what's going on here. We've got a shoulder, and I see some lines coming from the shoulder. Look at this. Here's a big long line. Here's a big long line. Here's a line. Here's a line. Here's a line. Shoulder is going to be a tension point. We've got another shoulder. Here's a line. Lines, lines, lines. Here's an elbow going around this arm. Elbow, around.
Around town.
Wow, look at that. So we can come in here and go, oh, this is going back. Oh, this is coming forward.
Okay.
Right? Look at this. That's so obviously the bottom of a cylinder. You know, boop. Just like that. It's the top of the bottom of the shorts. Top of the socks, I was about to say. So we come in here and we start to figure out what's the result of our investigation. So let's just go up here and we'll go, yeah, look at this. Line. Zoop. Line. You know, zoop. Here's this swoop. It goes like this. Like that. And I actually see a pretty cool rhythm in here. This rhythm of the arm is similar to the rhythm of the night. No, I'm kidding. The rhythm of this bottom of the shirt, right? I could connect this and create a gesture. And if I'm thinking about it really hard, look at this shape.
Okay.
Look at that shape. That's a really simple shape. Do I have that in my drawing?
You know? That's the whole
wow,
thing.
There's that really simple shape. Brains like simple shape. Brain, you know, monkey brain like simple shape. I was going to say caveman brain. Monkey brain like simple shape. Keep simple shape.
Simple.
Make drawing look good.
I was even thinking that's also switching your brain from 3D to 2D now.
Yeah, I've switched to 2D. I'm looking at two-dimensional shapes, all right? So what we're doing is we're always switching back and forth between three-dimensional thinking and two-dimensional thinking, right? They are married. They're married to each other. So really simple shape right here.
I wonder when their wedding was.
Really simple shape at the beginning of time. So we'll come down here and we'll just go, there's a nice simple shape. Here's a little sticky outy bit, and we'll go like that. And we got another big tension point right here. Look at that. Boom.
Boom.
Absolute tension point right here. So we go, yeah. There's an overlap back there. Look at this. You go, here's a hook, right? Look at how obvious this hook is. Zoop. Zoop. Absolutely the most obvious thing. What is that? It's really just part of a cylinder. Right? Except we're just gonna do this and cut this off like that, you know, and we'll see probably the inside of it a little bit. So there's our cylinder. So we'll take this hook and we'll go, zoop. You know, actually it's more like this, or rather like that. And then this one comes up and really comes down like that, right? We're just laying in our framework right now. We're laying in what's happening. This comes up underneath. This comes up underneath. This one comes up and above, and we got like this mushrooming out shape. And look, it goes right back up to our tension point on our shoulder, kind of wraps around our shoulder, and then goes zoop, like that. And then we've got other tension points, which I'm not even really going to bother with right now. We can just maybe imply a couple of them. There's that. And there's this. We can even talk a little bit about this right here. So this comes down. Here's the fist. And it kind of is right here. So I'm going to come over and up. And it's probably like, you know, right there. And I'm just going to focus on one line. If you want to get these flips, focus on a single line. This is an S curve. And then once we focused on the first line, we can focus on the second line. This is basically just a C curve right here.
It's like a DNA thingy.
Yeah. So let's draw that. Actually, let's start with a C curve because it's even simpler than an S curve. And we go there. And now we can draw our S curve over top of it. And then this S curve, yeah. And then this S curve to me bends kind of back up. So it's actually like a zhoo. So we go like that.
What app? Photoshop.
Yeah, this is Photoshop right now. So it's like, you can draw an S, right? You can draw this. You can draw this. You can draw a line. You can draw another C. A lot of the difficulty of drawing is just being able to break things down, because every individual line, it's not like if I told you to draw a line like this, you could do it 100%. Right? If I told you to draw another line, you could do it 100%. If I told you to draw another line, you could do it 100%. And another line, you could do it 100%. And so, you know, you could make, I don't know, maybe it's like a paper airplane or something. But a lot of these things you can do. It's just like being able to see them and identify which ones to do in which order is really important. And what function they actually have.
Yeah.
So
That's
like,
an interesting question.
This is a neck, and I'm gonna go, I'll just draw a cylinder. I'll just cap it. I ain't drawing no heads today.
I bought 12 art books and an art course in the last few years, but never finished any of them. What should I do?
Draw a lot. Just do drawing. Like, I don't think it's about finishing art classes. I think it's about having fun drawing and doing art. Like, you know, at least for me personally. And by the way, like, all of this line is just a representation of this edge right here. But I see this happening. This describes the form of my fabric. This is just a bunch of pipes. Like, this is a cylinder. This is a cylinder. This is a cylinder. This line down here, all it's doing is describing that to me. So we want to describe it to our viewers.
This is actually teaching me fabric so well. Thank you.
All right, let's take this.
I think Cole teaches clothing very well.
I just want to bring this a little bit closer so y'all can see both of it at the same time.
And we also teach clothing in our anime art school as well. We have a clothing class.
Yeah, we teach this exact stuff in our classes, and we go through a lot. Right? And am I aiming for 100% accuracy? No, this is just a clothing study. Like, I don't need to be that accurate with it. I'm just trying to understand what the heck is going on. This droops down really far, and this is actually what's really good is look for this shape right here. You've drawn the arm. Now if I look for this shape, I can see how far that comes down. So it's like, I'll just see this triangle right here. I'll just make it about the same size. And that gives me, like, you know, the width or the size. Look at this S curve.
Ooh.
Cheeky little S curve. Okay. Hello. Hey there, little guy. We're gonna draw you now. You know? S. We'll just put them in there. And then I see a couple of little C curves, right? Here's one, connects to my S. Here's one, connects to my S. Here's one, connects to my S. It's like a little chicken foot or something, like that. So we're going to take that and we're going to connect it to the S from behind the arm, because I'm thinking in 3-dimensional and I'm also thinking in 2-dimensional, right? I'm going to go, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do this. And then there's one maybe like a little bit further away. That's kind of neat. And I can refine any of these later. So, oh my gosh, look at this. Look at how complicated this looks in here. How are we going to deal with this? Well, at the end of the day, we basically just got a piece of fabric here and a piece of fabric here, and it's making a really sharp turn. So we're going to get a lot of bunching up on the inside and not as much bunching up on the outside. And we're going to get like this transitionary part right here. So lots of bunching, not a lot of bunching. So let's try to break that down, all right? There's a fold that happens when fabric bunches. It's called a half lock fold, and it is a fold that appears when a cylinder turns directions.
Yes.
So the cylinder turns, let's say, up. Here is a turn to cylinder, and that's exactly what happens. You get bunching, and you'll get like a mushroom, and then you'll get a little eye, and maybe you'll get like a little thing behind it, and then you might get a little disruption out here. And that's what a half lock looks like, kind of in its simplest form. And these are cylinders, by the way. So this will be like this. And then this will go in. So let's just look if we can see that happening to an extent, right? And it is happening. Like we go, okay, there's like a bunch of crap going on. Here's like a little eye. Here's a little thing right here. But overall, here's an eye. Here's an eye. We're getting like a bunch of things pinching together. So we'll just kind of look for maybe like a main line. Okay, here's a line. Here's a line. Let's just start with that, right? We just kind of need a starting point. So let's grab this and let's go. Here's a line. And then this kind of comes out like that. And then this comes up and it hooks back in because this is rolling over the arm. And we're getting like, I want you to look at like this. We could do that. We could do that. It's the 6-7 fold. Oops, whoa. I just made full screen, right? It's the 6-7 fold. We just go, here's our cylinder. You go, here's 6. Here's, 7. And we just go, zoop, zoop. Hook it over. That's basically just what it is. It's just a bunch of wrapping around cylinders, and we can make multiples, right? We could do another on it.
OMG, people are saying.
OMG, that's crazy. But anyways, and we've got two. We've got this side, which I think we already drew. Yep. And then we've got the other side, which is just this C. And if you've been practicing your exercises, we talk about these all the time on stream. This is literally just this, right? You can go out and over like that, and you can come back in like this and hook around it. So this is just that same exercise. I can just move this over here. So we're going to go and hook over, and just put it there. Like
we
that.
are drawing clothes. Seeing construction in simplified shape is very scary.
Just like this. It's not scary. It's your friend.
It is your friend. So glad I just joined. This is my biggest downfall when it comes to drawing. Yeah, I think when you start finding the connections between like, oh, where does this fold go? Where this fold goes here, becomes a lot easier. Yeah.
And so like, let's look at this, right? We've got the arm underneath because we drew the volumes. We've got some of this stuff going on in here. And now let's look at this outside shape. It comes down and it kind of wants to connect to the wrist. The wrist. It's an accelerated curve, and I'm going to look where it apexes. And by apex, I mean where is the point at which it kind of peaks and curves around. It's pretty far down here. So as long as we make a curve that is longer here and more curved here, I think we'll be okay. Let's try it, right? So this comes out from behind this, and it comes long, and it kind of peaks, and it comes in. Let's see if we did it right. No, we'll come up a little bit higher. Yeah, that's fine for me, right? Not going for an exact copy. We're just trying to understand this thing. Who cares if you copy it right? You don't even want to copy it right. Right? We have like a little thing here, and it kind of scoops around like this. Right? I'm drawing like this thing. So if I wanted to break down this really complicated shape, I would just go, okay, here's like a C, and here's an I. And then this kind of goes around the eye. Because pretty much every eye you're going to have like a mushroom around, right? You're going to have an eye, and then you're going to have like...
some kind of fold outside of it.
Yeah, you're going to have like a round...
It's like a rope.
Yeah, like a rope, essentially. So every time you see a little eye, you're pretty much always going to get a little rope around it. And so we're going to do that, right? We drew that. This eye is more of a triangle. And then... you know, we've got our rope. And you decide, like, exactly how much of this you want to show. Like, that, honestly, to me, is totally fine. I don't really need to show more than that. You know, this, to me, feels a little bit, like, bigger. Like, it goes all the way down there. Totally fine. Here's another S. S. Let's draw that S. Comes up from behind here. And it really takes a turn and kind of goes like that. And then we'll draw the other one that's behind it, which kind of just looks like that. Good enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got some buttons and stuff in there. 1, 2, 3. I don't even really care to count them. I've never been one to count.
I love that you say you don't really want to copy it right. Open another door to my brain. In my brain.
Yeah, I would say copying, being more focused on copying exactly, actually, to me, takes away understanding. My only goal is I want to understand this. That's it. You could have a study that you do that your main goal is to copy exactly. This is not how I'm doing it. Not this time.
Like I was talking about how to draw wrinkles, I've walked in on the perfect time.
Like this.
Yeah.
You know, traps, neck, all that. Sternocleidomastoid coming down, clavicle. And don't really see, all you really see a lot of the time is just like a little hint of anatomy. You don't see a lot of anatomy.
We got an interesting question. How are you keeping track of what is a peak and what's a valley? Highlights and dips.
Whether it's light or dark. Like, I'm kind of just using the logic, right? Like, this coming out to me is pretty obviously a peak, and then you get ambient occlusion down here, and that's pretty obviously a valley. So, like, your value is going to determine that. And so if I'm coming over here, I could have this valley. Like, if I were to trace this, right, it'd be like... right? And I haven't drawn it exactly like it shows up in the reference either. So... you can even just do like little tracing over it. Like you could do like a little hatch like this and like a little hatch like that just to show that form. Like these kind of little hatching if you want. Or you could just draw straight up like a line over it. Like this line right here is going to do a really, really good job helping you keep track of your peaks and your valleys. You know, any lines going over the surface, which is why this outfit is so great, because it's literally just a bunch of lines. It's almost like a corduroy or something.
And it shows you the form exactly.
Yeah. So I'm going to get down here, I'm going to get a peak, and I'm trying to see my reference, you know, a peak and a valley. And then this kind of like, you know, whatever goes up in there. Valley, peak, and we'll just do that for now. And again, I'm not going to get wrapped up on hands because I'm not drawing hands right now. I could focus on the hands later. There's no hand right here. There's a tiny bit of fingers right here. So I literally don't even need to focus at all on hands. I'm just going to make this a little shape. There we go. This is exactly how I do these studies, by the way. And now look. Ooh, perfect timing. Seam line.
Okay.
This seam line describes my form, and it will describe the form in your drawing. So it goes up and down and up and around. So we go, you know, zoom, zoom like that. And then we've got lines. Like, again, this is a tension point over here, right? So we're going to have lines kind of going like this. Just based on our knowledge of like how clothing folds tend to work. We have tension points and compression points. When you learn how to draw clothes, you sort of like build a bucket of like knowledge about how clothes and folds tend to work. And then you refer to that knowledge as you draw.
And actually, I quite like how the folds kind of mimic the rotation of the arm.
Yep. You can use them to enhance your gesture. We actually have a little bit on that in our book. The clothes that help the gesture. And then in the detailed version, it helps. Your folds are essentially just describing what the pose is doing, and they're helping you, right? It's the same thing here. Like, you've got Candy, and she's flipping her dress up, and it's all helping the gesture. So it's like you look for those shapes, kind of interpret them in context to what's happening in the shot, in your shot. It'll help a lot.
Yeah. I really like this one too.
The soccer one as well is good. Like there. And so you can physically go in and draw lines and go, what is this figure doing? There's that one. And then there's the clothes. So you can see like his jacket is going zoom, and his arm and his jacket are like that. And it's all kind of helping. Because the
like
clothes will literally follow your gesture. Like, they will literally follow the action that's going on. They drag behind like a string. Do we have a website or link? Yeah, this book is on Amazon, but we also have classes online. We have an entire school. There's a 14-week clothing drawing class in that school. And that book, by the way, is our book. Yes. We published it, and it is all available on Amazon. It's called Anime Academy: How to Draw Characters. So yeah, like, hook that back in. You know, we got a little bit of that going on there. And honestly, this study to me is plenty. I feel like we've kind of done a good job at describing this. You know, maybe we can come in and clarify this a little bit. I'll lighten that. Draw this eye in there. This comes out from behind it. And then this connects a little bit lower. You get a little bit of zigzagging happening in here. Like, you can actually see it. You can see this diamond right there. And it kind of like goes like that. That's actually a zigzag fold, but it's so unimportant. We're going to ignore it. We're going to ignore folds that don't contribute to the main story. I know, gasp, ignoring details. How could we? We're going to ignore the folds that don't contribute to our message. We have to lie in order to tell a better truth.
Yep.
So we're going to ignore things that are actually there in order to make sure that the clarity is that things are really clear. I think I first heard that from Nathan Fowkes.
It was profound.
Yes, he's like, artists tell white lies in order, like, people, they tell stories through lies. They tell true stories through lies.
Sometimes people just can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth, chat. If I showed you every detail of this shirt using a line, it would just be a black image.
I should have clarified. I'm currently doing drapery studies for my art class in college, but I easily lose track of what the line I drew was meant to represent. Was this line for a shadow or a highlight?
You could put little X's in the shadows. That's what some painters do. When you do woodworking, you'll like have a board, and this happens so much. Like, you'll draw a line and you'll put an X on the side, or like a scribble on the side that is not useful, and the side that is useful you won't draw on, because what always happens is you think this is the scrap board, and so you ruin it by sawing it or something. You can do that. Like, you can draw a shape and you can just go like that. That's out. That's in. You know, and I don't even know if that's out and in. Yeah, I guess it is. That's one way to do it. It's like a, you know, a shorthand to keep track. These are ugly. This is ugly right here. I want to like make this good. So this kind of goes like zoom, and it comes in and it goes like that. And then this, I would actually prefer to make that shape a little bit more interesting now that we're kind of far into this.
It doesn't take that long to study clothing.
Or you could put a little tiny bit of tone in.
Oh yeah,
we were taking a class by Ramon Hurtado, a phenomenal oil painter, teaches anatomy and everything as well. And he'll say that he will sometimes just put in a little bit of tone, not because it's a shadow, but just because it kind of is like a, I don't know, an indicator.
It's like not a real like shadow. It's just tone.
Think about it like the viewport in a 3D program, just having kind of tone to show you what's going on. You could do that as well. Like I can separate the top and the bottom of this arm right here with tone. Or I could separate this shadow with tone. Or I could go, you know, I'll make this have tone. It's like not a real shadow. It's just showing that something is going on. It's almost just like another type of drawing a line. We'll draw the leg down here, and I'll just leave it. Then we'll draw this, and we'll fill it, because it looks cool when there's like a graphical aspect. I'm kind of just in the last phase of this right now, which is
tips for learning how to render clothes. I'm doing studies just looking for a tip. Separate your lighting shadows.
Yeah, it would absolutely be in the category of make sure that your light and shadows. But you have to know these forms. These forms are what makes the rendering. Like, if you're rendering or lighting clothes, shapes are created by light hitting form. So, like, you know, if you have a concave shape and you have light hitting it, you are probably going to get like a core shadow here. If you have a convex shape and you have a light hitting it, you're going to get like, it's going to be this. These are literally completely different shapes. One, if I look at it just from a two-dimensional point of view, one looks like this, right? One looks like this, and the other looks like this. And so no matter how much rendering I add to this, right? And if I have a cast shadow to this, it'd probably be like this.
Oh.
And if I add a cast shadow to this one...
I thought it was a baseball cap for a second.
Yeah, it kind of does look like a baseball cap. It creates a similar shape. If I add a shadow to this one, it's probably going to be like this. Just by making one a bowl, by flipping the bowl upside down, right? But like that happens with clothes is like, so if this shape comes out and in, you're gonna have a completely different shadow than if this comes out and this comes in. It's gonna be a completely different shape. So shapes are created by light hitting form.
Do you think Krita is a good drawing software?
Yeah, a lot of people like it.
A lot of people like it. I've definitely used it a little bit. For a demo, actually on our anime art school, we covered Krita, I believe, on one of the lessons.
And then like, you know, the way that you render is you're just the first steps to rendering is just what shadows are hard, what shadows are soft, what shadows are lost. Just figuring out those three things. Right? Lost. Maybe you could have a little thing around this. Maybe you have a line around this inside the bowl. Maybe you have a line around the edge on the outside of the bowl.
Ooh, fancy. You guys probably don't remember me, but I said I was getting an iPad 3 days ago. Let me tell you, it's hard, but I'm still making progress. That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome to hear. Shapes are created by light hitting form. So the form is like everything, right? And then the form is everything because it determines your shapes. And then once you have the shapes, right, like this is a form. So it would be like this. This would be soft here. And then you get like the penumbra, which is like the softness of the cast shadow coming out. And, you know, it could be something like that. By the way, if this light was like soft instead of hard, it would look completely different. But we actually have a couple of recent streams that talk about this kind of stuff. We talked about soft light, hard light, colors. We talked about rendering. This is a still life that I did. And I talked about the shapes and the forms and the color temperatures. We talk a lot about this type of stuff on stream. So you can go check our YouTube channel, Draw Anime Academy. And we go over a lot of this foundational stuff. We break down artists. You know, we talk about this kind of stuff.
Parallel lines on designs on clothes. How would they work with the folds?
They would go around the forms.
Yep.
So like,
use your folds to determine like the shape.
yeah.
It's just outlining the fold.
Like, it's just going to do something like that. It's like, think of clothing as like a ribbon, right? Here's a ribbon.
If you were to draw a stripe on that, you know,
This is what it is. What would a stripe on this do? It would just literally follow the ribbon, you know?
You know, and if you were to do like horizontal stripes instead of vertical ones, that'd be even easier.
Horizontal stripes, vertical stripe. It would just very directly follow that ribbon. So like, if you don't know this ribbon, how could you add a stripe to it? You couldn't. You couldn't add a stripe to it if you don't know the ribbon. So like, in my mind, I know these ribbons, right? Like, oh yeah, that goes over. Oh, that goes over, you know? And you get seam lines a lot of the time here too. You ever notice that when you're drawing things like this, not always, a lot of the time you'll see this, Christina.
Oh yeah.
You'll see a seam line there.
Yeah, you will.
So that's going to be it. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, go ahead and give a like. If you didn't find it helpful, you know, go ahead and give a dislike. And we do live stream all the time. So if you're interested in seeing this sort of thing live, you can go check us out. If you see us live, we'll be happy to say hi. You can just say, you know, I came from the YouTube video saying hi, and we'll give you a shout out. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.